Well, Cassie filed that the lawsuit, and I believe I've seen you speak on Kim Porter about stuff you've
Right.
seen in the past. So at
Right.
what point?
Go ahead.
I was saying, at what point did you start to see stuff?
The first incident that I found out about Puff and Kim Porter, I was called by Kirk Burrows and Paul. It was Kirk Burrows, I think. And I had to go over to, Puff didn't have no security. He was over St. Luke's Hospital. Him and Kim had got into an incident where she had took a corkscrew and cut his wrist, his right wrist. So I was asked to go over there. And right then I found out that they had an altercation. Kim looked like she was bruised up. And Puff had his wrist wrapped up in a t-shirt that was constantly, there was just blood everywhere. And come to find out, she had cut, I think probably an artery or something in his wrist with a corkscrew. So that's the first altercation I know of Kim and Puff having a certain situation.
Pretty crazy thing to go through at that point.
Well, that was that was him and his girl, and I didn't see the altercation. I only saw the aftermath of the altercation. And it seemed like she probably got the best of him that time. To me.
Okay, so now you go through this incident with Puff, and you kind of see the aftermath of everything, man. What's your kind of general thoughts about everything that you go through at the time?
On that particular situation?
Yeah.
Well, you got to realize is that Puff was a part of our crew. And at the time, he was an underling. And he's not the Puff Daddy that y'all know and y'all see. You understand? He still was like a nobody trying to make it to me. You understand? So, in that point, he was still trying to be around the same gang, even though he had Big and Craig Mack for Bad Boy Records. They hadn't blown up yet. Craig Mack record was the one that was being played and hot. Biggie was not, Biggie at the time, the Notorious Big. So Puff wasn't even trying to even rap. He was just trying to promote, help the street team and help everybody to blow Bad Boy up to what he wanted to be. So, he's not the same individual that y'all see now than he was back then. You got to realize this was like in 91, and then I left him alone. Then after that Suge Knight thing happened, I came back. So this is like 94, 95. You understand what I'm saying? So he was just happy for somebody like me who had that status of those different crews to be his big unk to look out for him so nobody would do nothing to him. So now, if you're speaking about allegations with Kim and everything like that, a lot of that stuff started happening after, I think around the time Ms. Lopez and him was breaking up.
Oh, okay. So that's when you seen
footage of this OB media. Trinity goes crazy and he goes off Diddy, and he detailed that Diddy liked to put his hands on female. He did the same thing to Cassie, and he did the same thing to Kim Porter. Well, Kim Porter was a fighter. She always was fighting back Diddy. So she almost hurt Diddy real bad. She cut him on the wrist. So Diddy was a real sucker, and he deserved everything what is happening to him, man. He liked to use his power to misuse and mistreat people, and we had to hold this ninja accountable. He was really getting out of control. So a lot of people been saying that a lot of enablers know what Diddy was doing all of these years and did not do shit. So a lot of these people, I don't really care what their opinion is, but this shit is just crazy. But like, share, subscribe. It's OB Media. Let's get it.
things kind of get worse, or you just started seeing things in general?
Well, just I wouldn't say worse, because Puff never did things like that around me. He knew I didn't play that. He tried cursing his mother around me, and I checked him on that. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to realize he had other bodyguards, and he wouldn't do certain things around me because I'm a law enforcement officer. And I wasn't going to let him do that. I've been I did 27 years as a parole officer. And I'm like, at the time, our relationship, I was like his big uncle. So I'm not going to let him do stupid stuff to get himself in trouble or me in trouble. So a lot of that stuff that is probably happened after I left, you understand, other than, the swinging stuff that he did with Kim and other guys and everything.
Okay, talk to me about that a little bit.
I don't know what you want to know about that, Cam. You're talking about this is your girl, this is your woman. She didn't even have Christian at the time, but you bring other guys in with her, and then sometimes be just other girls and her, then other guys, then guys and girls, and they swinging, they doing their thing, bro. I guess that's what the industry is. They like to swing like that. The rock stars do it. I guess the rappers was doing it too.
Was that stuff surprising to you, or were you used to it being around the music business?
I'm not gonna have Cam. That's surprising to anybody. Who gonna have their girl having sex with another man because you can have sex with their girl, or y'all switching and y'all? Nah, man. That's some beyond me. But I know it happens.
Mark Curry has said in an interview that Puff broke Kim Porter's nose when they were fighting on a yacht. Did you ever see anything like that or hear about anything like that?
I've never seen Puff put his hands on Kim like that, other than snatching her and grabbing her or something like that. But as far as I heard of the nose breaking. That was something that I heard of that.
I seen somewhere that, he treated J-Lo different than he treated Cassie and Kim.
Well, I know that I never seen him with the play fight like he used to do with Kim, because that's how it would start off. He would start off with the play fight, hitting her with pillows and all like that. I guess that love tap, I don't know, I wasn't into that. I've never been into that with women. So he would start off like that. Then it would always probably go up to something, a higher level, or where she wanted him to stop playing with her like that because he may have gotten a little too rough for her. But I never seen him do Ms. Lopez like that. And when J-Lo was around, I used to always just call her Ms. Lopez. He would do the flirtation and like have a lot of girls around and then try to play her like that. But, she would check that. And I put in my book one particular night where she was in the we was in the studio and a lot of girls was up there, and J-Lo got, Miss Lopez got mad, and she went home and she put on some jeans and sneakers and put her hair back into a little bun and a ponytail, and she came back to the studio, and Puff had a new song for her because she was heated, and he got rid of all those girls that was in the studio. So he never tried to, straight up, talk to her crazy or anything around people. Never. I never even heard him raise his voice to her.
Okay. Totally different. Totally different.
Totally different. But you got to realize with Kim them and most other people that I've seen him be around, they depended on him. Ms. Lopez didn't depend on him. She had her own.
Okay, now, Suge and Diddy had this huge, feud going on. There's this picture that recently came out of Suge playing with Diddy's son. You know, what did you think when you seen that?
We had saw this picture, and it wasn't the ones that was recently released. It was a picture of Suge hugging Misa, and Misa having Justin in her arms, and the thing said, "What the East Coast won't take care of, the West." The caption said, "What the East Coast won't take care of, the West Coast will." Puff saw that and almost blew a stack in his head. A vein came across his head. I mean, like he was heated. And he got on the phone. You know, I guess he was trying to reach Misa. He was trying to, you know, he was going crazy. And recently, I had told that story on another platform, and I told the story before, and then somebody said they don't believe it. It didn't happen. I was just capping all this other stuff. And now the photo gets released by I don't know who, and Suge Knight is playing Play Daddy on the floor with Justin, and somebody's taking the pictures of him and everything. You know, I know. Puff was probably, I don't know if he probably was still mad at that today to see that, because he probably didn't know those pictures existed.
In the lawsuit, it talks about a situation where they heard about Suge being at a restaurant, and Puff was, they allegedly went to grab some guns and go after him or something, man. Do you know anything about that situation?
The part I know about the situation, it wasn't the fact that Suge was at the restaurant. D-Rock, Big's man, was at the restaurant, and they had D-Rock trapped in the restaurant. Now, this story came from D-Rock himself, because I was wondering, I was trying to have a sit down with D-Rock and Puff, you know, and I wanted to have a sit down with D-Rock first and let him know all what happened and how did Big end up going to the party when I told y'all not to go to the party. You know, and that's the party that Big got murdered at. So D-Rock told me how Puff, you know, loaded up some guns and everything and had one of the girls, and I didn't know it was Cassie at the time. You know, his girl came into the restaurant with the guns, giving it to him so he could be safe from whatever was going to go down or whatever they thought was going to go down, you know, with Suge and his people. So that part was true, because that was told to me by the person who was in the restaurant.
Was that the only situation like that you're aware of?
About what?
About Puff and Suge.
Man, the times we saw Suge, you got to realize, you know, I was part of Black Hands and Slick in the Family. The time I saw Suge I never had a problem with Suge. You understand what I'm saying? So it was never no issues. I seen Suge at the Super Bowl. It was no problem, no issue with Puff. We saw Suge in the back of the House of Blues, and Tupac was alive at the time. Tupac was in a white top, a white drop top, Rolls Royce, Bentley, whatever that is. Suge was in a red one. We rose up to Pac, and Puff tried to speak to Pac. He like, "Yo, what up, Pac?" Pac looked at him and turned his head. Didn't say nothing to him, got right back on his phone. And the dude in the back of Puff at the time was named Riz. Riz said, "Yo, F him, speak to Suge. Suge is the boss." Right? So then Puff said something to Suge. He said, "Yo, what up, Suge?" He said, "What's up?" He said, "Yo, you think we got any problems out here?" Suge said, I don't know no problems that y'all have. You think we good out here?" He said, "You should be. I don't." Suge I don't know any problems you got, bruh. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
And Pac was alive then. You understand? We drove off. We had a reporter with us. I think he was from either Rolling Stones or that other big magazine. So never had no issues with Suge or nothing like that. Even at the Soul Train Awards, when it was Pac and Big going at it, you know, they had us outnumbered, but the FOI was right there too. But it wasn't no issue like that. It was just a lot of mouthing and talking between Pac and Big.
Do you remember what they were saying or what the main issue was that they were talking about at the time?
What I was told was because another officer was there with me who worked with me at my job because I brought him out there with us. He told me that verbatim, Pac started yelling to me, now you on the West Coast. Now you on the West Coast. You on the West Coast, you fat motherfucker. Now you on, talking to Big like that. Big said, man, I don't care where I'm at. I ain't scared. You understand? Big man stepped in front of Big, and that was C Gutter. You understand? They start coming close. Suge was in front of Pac, holding Pac back to the side. C Gutter pulls a gun out on Suge. When C Gutter pulled the gun out on Suge, the FOI just came and rushed and got in the middle of everything.
What was Puffy doing? Because I definitely heard a couple different people say that Puffy ran.
What happened was we was running to the thing. I was with Puff. We was running to the thing. And this is exactly how it happened. And I don't care what nobody say, bro. So now we was running to the event, to where they was at. We had got stopped by some FOI guys. Puff was getting into it with them. Mustafa, who was Farrakhan's son, stopped the whole incident right there. So he let us go. We was running through there. So now I see Suge them there at the bottom of the steps, coming up the steps. Puff was right here on my left side. On down, it's an embankment where you could jump down and go behind the television media vans. So I told Puff, I'm like this, and I tell Puff, man, just watch out for my family, man. There ain't nothing gonna happen to you. You good. Trust and believe. And so then we start walking. As soon as we got to that wall right there, you could jump down. Puff just jumped down. And then he started running towards the media vans. Then he went up under the fence of the media vans. It's just those little wire fence. You know how they separate the things, the little wires. He pulled it up, went up under the media van, and then next thing I seen him in the middle of the parking lot, and Suge and them had walked past me.
Okay. So they had a long feud going. You've been coming out for a while, talking about Puffy, Biggie, Bad Boy, and everything that you've seen and went through has a bodyguard. Have you gotten any death threats, or has anything happened, or has anybody approached you and tried to do anything to you?
I get death threats every week, every day, and I've been getting them ever since I came out. So I'm not worrying about anybody doing anything to me. Listen to me. God ain't finished with me yet. When he is, ain't nothing I could do about it, bro. You got to realize every day I went to work as a parole officer, my life was in danger. Every day I worked at a nightclub at Sue's Rendezvous, my life was in danger. Every day I worked at a housing complex in New York City, which was Lambert Housing, one of the worst housing complex that anybody could do security at. That's where the Purple Top gang was at. I was there during that time. Eastchester Housing. I was there when Jamaican Posse was up there. Lambert Housing. I was there when it was crazy over there. Every day of my life, I always had, my life was threatened, or I probably couldn't make it home to my kids. And, I know I got God on my side, and I take all precautions. I keep my head on the swivel, and I'm not worried about what somebody say they're going to do to me. I never have, never will. When you grow up in a place like Wellston, you know what I'm saying? People didn't stop at the stop sign, brother. You ask anybody St. Louis, around St. Louis City about Wellston. You don't go through Wellston and stop at a stop sign. I grew up from that type of neighborhood. So when God gets ready for me, ain't nothing I can do about it, bro.
Man, this interview is interesting, man. Genie Deal goes in on Diddy. He said that since he talked about Diddy and exposing the industry, he received a lot of death threats. A lot of people is saying that they're gonna get him killed. So this is just crazy, man. When you're exposing these powerful type of people, a lot of shit will happen. But Diddy been doing this stuff for so long, so a lot of people been saying that Diddy got something to do with Tupac getting killed. Because Diddy hated Tupac. He hate Biggie Smalls and Tupac friendship. So this been going on for a long time. The East Coast versus the West Coast. Everyone is fighting to be on top. But Diddy always wanted to be the center of attention. He want to dance in all of the videos. He want to disrespect people like he's the hardest. Diddy is not no hardest. Diddy is not talented. Diddy is just insecure and wanted to be in the spotlight. Since Biggie Smalls' death, Diddy got all of the recognition for everything that Biggie Smalls did. And he did not do shit. So a lot of people are saying that Puff was the one that got Biggie Smalls out of the way, and Tupac. Jay-Z and Diddy conspired to get these people killed so that they can be on top, so that they can control the industry. But this shit is just crazy, man. But I don't know, man, but a lot of trails, a lot of conspiracies. We're gonna know if Diddy really got something to do with Tupac getting killed, because all of this story is gonna add up someday. Someone have to go to jail for this shit. But Keefe D be snitching very odd, and he be saying that Diddy got something to do with this shit, man. But I don't know. I don't know if Diddy's gonna fold. I don't know if he's gonna get charged for this shit. But this shit is just getting crazy, man. But the Diddler, he was really getting out of control. He was doing all type of weird activities. He was really wilding. So a lot of people been saying that Diddy was using his power so that he can mistreat people. And he thought that he was untouchable. So he continued to do the same thing over and over. He was really wilding. And we had to do something about this shit. We had to make a stop. So Genie Deal been talking, been exposing for a long while. And now everyone got to realize that they weren't lying. Jagger Wright, Genie Deal, all of these truth tellers been speaking out about Diddy and Jay-Z, saying that they're monsters and they've been doing crimes for so long and been getting away. So it is up for the Jigga Man and it's up for the Diddler Man. So someone else have to take over. They don't want to give the young generation a chance. They want to get all of the credit of the rap music these days. And these ninjas are just sucker that we need to cancel, man. They're not good for the black community. They're selling out. All of these ninjas sold out for so long and trying to change the narrative, trying to make us believe that they are on our side. They're not on nobody's side, man. Everybody that Diddy did wrong are all his own race. So this ninja was a real sucker in real life. But it is what it is, man. It's OB Media. Have a blessed day.
You know, it's interesting. The saga of Diddy and Tupac is an example of how energy cannot be created or destroyed, and how no matter how hard you try to manipulate, you cannot create or destroy or change the fundamental laws of the universe. What do I mean by this? Tupac was a shining example of everything that Diddy wanted to be, and he was that naturally. He was charismatic, he was sought after, desired, he was very well liked and a naturally likable person. He was charming, he actually had intrinsic talent, he was a star. He was what Diddy tried to force his way into becoming. Diddy, through force, through manipulation, through fear-mongering, tried to become loved and adored and liked, but all he could manage is like a twisted clone of that he was able to garner through fear. But back to my original point, he thought he triumphed over Tupac by killing him, when actually what he did was make Tupac immortal. And by Diddy continuing to live and earn more wealth and, in his mind, earn more adoration, he thought he triumphed. He thought he won overall. He thought he was able to manipulate the laws and the fabric of the universe just based on his pure, intense desire. But look at the ultimate outcome. Tupac is still more loved, more respected, probably even more so than he would have been had he continued living. And Diddy's reputation, legacy is destroyed. In some ways, Diddy is more dead than Tupac will ever be. And that's the lesson there. The energy cannot be created nor destroyed. No matter how hard you manipulate, you can't change the fundamental laws of the universe.